And let me remind everyone of what we just did together in 2020.
We're hopeful people get vaccinated and, maybe things loosen up over time.
Indoor dining is back, and so are the diners.
That also means bringing lots of staff back.
Will open its doors for fans with some requirements.
In the beginning of the COVID pandemic, the way we communicate transformed within a matter of days. To be honest, I didn't even know what Zoom was until having to rely on it on a weekly basis. But now, video chats and Slack messages have become a way of life. In this episode, we find out how the pandemic has changed our society on a few levels, from managing our relationship with technology to even changes in how we speak in our daily conversations. First up, let's talk about our increased reliance on tech and how it may impact us in the future.
Zoom is good for many things, but it's not good for inspiration. When face-to-face, we're able to bounce off each other and spark new ideas. And, you just can't problem solve on Zoom as well. But I think what we need to do is put each type of social interaction in its place. And instead of being bullish with technology is our savior or all technology is bad, I think we have to be wise, and we have the space and opportunity during the pandemic and appreciate the limits of technology as well as their benefits, I think, more than ever before.
In terms of the impact that having this much screen time and having so much of your social interactions occur vis-a-vis a screen or technology, I think that the impacts are going to be long-lasting. Social skills and communication skills are like a muscle. When you don't use them over time, they atrophy and they get weaker and you lose them. My fear is that because this has been going on so long, that some young people are going to lag behind.
Tech is playing such a major role in our communication and even entertainment, with a growing amount of attention placed on audio-only apps like Clubhouse and rival Betty Labs. With this increased interest in connecting with the human voice, have there been subtle changes in the way we talk to one another?
During the pandemic, we've craved conversation. One thing that's really interesting about face-to-face conversations versus digital is that you have no buffer face-to-face. So right now, if I got really nervous, I could turn my video off or I could mute myself. And this is a buffer that one of the skills of conversation is that we learn to work with those buffers in real time, dynamically face-to-face. But at the same time, we are craving conversation. I know that I'm making more phone calls to family and friends than I've ever before. And we also have noticed that audio-only versions of entertainment have taken off during this time. Podcasts and audio entertainment and old-fashioned radio programs, I think we're starting to crave them because there's something very comforting and special about the human voice.
For people who struggle with communicating effectively, this time creates an opportunity and a challenge to really learn how to express themselves in words. Because you can't just assume that people are going to be able to tell how you're feeling based on your facial expression. Half of your facial expression isn't visible.
Switching gears, let's take a look at what's been on our minds lately. In these times of uncertainty, people tend to realize what's most important in their lives. I spoke to one filmmaker who traveled to every single state before and after COVID to find out what happiness means to everyday Americans.
Almost every American just wants one thing: to be happy. Join me in the journey across America, learning how everyday Americans reach happiness and fulfillment, and how you can too.
Now that we've been in this pandemic for about a year, do you feel that happiness has changed its meaning for people?
Really, people are starting to slow down and appreciate the smaller moments. people were they were forced to slow down, but started to appreciate the things that at the end of our lives probably truly matter. One of the greatest lines that stuck out to me from an interview was a man in California named Monroe, and he said that you are protected on this earth until you have served your purpose. Whatever that may be. It might be becoming a mother and really creating and building a family, or it could be a small moment in time that you don't even realize was your purpose to help someone else out.
And finally, with some of those uncertainties, either at home or at work, it's no wonder that we may feel a little bit more anxious nowadays. Here are some tips to help better manage that stress and start our days off right.
These are anxiety-provoking times, almost by definition, right? Because anxiety is this nervous apprehension about the uncertain future, but could happen. Now, doesn't that define the pandemic? The flip side of anxiety is not despair, it's actually hope, because it's orienting us to this possible future. And yes, it can be scary, but it orients us and helps us prepare. So when we lean in on our anxiety and leverage it and manage it, instead of avoiding it, we manage it. It can often motivate us to do more and do better.
I really recommend starting off the morning with 3 questions. What can I look forward to today? What is potential to stress me out today or worry me today? And how will I choose to respond to it? How do I want to feel at the end of today? And what do I need to do or not do to make that happen?
It may be too soon to tell what long-lasting social impacts we'll have post-pandemic, but for now, it's important to take the time to remember what's priority in our lives and hold on to it. For NBC New York, I'm Linda Gaudino.